Marcus went back to the reservoir alone. He looked at the water. His reflection smiled back. Marcus wasn't smiling. That was his last mistake. Just like David, who walked toward the voice in the fog. And Emma, who heard her name whispered from beneath the mud. 3 people. 3 bodies of water hiding something. And today, you're gonna find out what. Story 1. David was a mess. 3 months since signing the divorce papers, and every day felt worse than the one before. That's when his cousin Cole called with a simple idea. A weekend at the lake. Fish, camp, forget about life for 48 hours. David said yes. He needed to get out of that empty house. The lake in Montana was perfect. Isolated, surrounded by pine trees, water so still it looked like glass. Cole had been going there since he was a kid. Spent entire summers there with his grandpa. They set up camp on the north shore. Fished all day. Didn't talk much, the way guys do when they know words won't fix anything. When the sun went down, they started a campfire. David finally seemed relaxed. For the first time in months, he smiled. It was around 10 at night when the fog started rolling in over the water. Thick, creeping like something alive. And then, they heard it. A voice. A woman's voice. Singing. It was the most beautiful sound David had ever heard. A melody with no words, but full of emotion. Sadness. Longing. Something that hit you right in the chest. Cole looked at David. Cole said, "You hearing this?" David nodded. He was already on his feet, staring at the lake. The voice was coming from the fog. From somewhere out in the middle of the lake. And it was calling. Not with words, but David felt it. Like the voice knew exactly what he was going through. The loneliness. The pain. The anger. Without even thinking, he started walking toward the shore. Cole followed. Cole said, "David, hold up. Something's not right here." But David couldn't stop. The voice was closer now. Through the fog he could make out a shape. A silhouette. A woman standing on the docks across the lake. David froze. He knew this lake. Cole had told him about it. David said, the docks were torn down. 10 years ago. Cole grabbed David's arm. Cole said, "We need to go back. Now." But then the wind shifted. And the fog cleared. For 3 seconds, just 3 seconds, the lake was completely visible. The docks weren't there. The woman was. Inches from David. And the water. Pale as moonlight, black hair floating around her face. And she was smiling. Before David could scream, she grabbed his ankle. Cole yanked David so hard they both hit the ground. The woman's hand let go. When they looked back, she was gone. The water was calm. Like nothing ever happened. They packed up camp in 15 minutes and drove to the nearest town. Next morning, a local told them the story. A woman drowned in that lake back in 1953. Found out her husband was cheating. Filled her pockets with rocks and walked out onto the docks. The guy said something that made David's blood run cold. He said, "She only shows up for men in bad relationships. Like she's looking for company." David never went back to that lake. But sometimes late at night he still hears that voice. Singing. Calling. Story 2. Robert had a tradition with his daughter Emma. Whenever something big was about to happen in her life, graduation, first job, moving away, he'd take her fishing. It wasn't about catching fish. It was about spending time together. That comfortable silence. The kind of conversation that only happens when you're sitting side by side, looking at the water instead of staring each other down. Emma was getting married in 2 weeks. So Robert rented a boat and they headed to the Mississippi swamp. The same place where he used to fish with his own dad, decades back. It was a perfect day. Sunlight filtering through the trees, dark calm water, cicadas buzzing in the distance. Emma was glowing, talking about her dress, the honeymoon, all their plans. Robert just listened, trying to burn the moment into his memory. His little girl about to start a whole new life. Emma cast her line near a cluster of cypress trees. The bait sank slowly into the murky water. They waited. Emma said, "Dad, thank you. For all this. For always being there." Robert was about to answer when Emma's rod bent hard. Emma grabbed the rod with both hands. Emma said, "I got something big." Robert grinned. Probably a catfish. Some huge ones lived in that swamp. But then Emma frowned. Emma said, "It stuck. I think the hook caught on something down there." She pulled. Once. Twice. And then something pulled back. It wasn't a fish tug. It was deliberate. Strong. Like something under the mud had grabbed the line and was testing what was on the other end. The rod nearly yanked Emma out of the boat. She screamed. Robert dropped his own rod and grabbed his daughter around the waist. Robert yelled, "Let go of the rod." Emma said, "I can't. It stuck to my hand." The boat started tipping. Whatever was down there was pulling hard enough to flip them over. Robert grabbed his fish-cleaning knife, cut the line. The boat snapped back upright. Emma fell backward, breathing hard, eyes wide. Robert pulled the cut line back into the boat. He had to see what caught the hook. When the end of the line came out of the water, Robert's stomach dropped. Tangled on the hook, no algae, no weeds. It was hair. Human hair. Long, black, wrapped around the metal hook. And it was wet. Fresh. Like it had been cut seconds ago. Emma was shaking. Emma said, "Dad, what is that? What was that?" Robert had no answer. He just fired up the motor and got them back to the marina as fast as he could. When they pulled up, an old man was sitting on a bench mending a net. He looked at the two of them, pale, drenched in sweat, and shook his head. The man said, "Y'all were fishing near the old cypress grove, weren't you?" Robert nodded. The man pointed to a faded sign nailed to the marina wall. "No fishing near old pier, dangerous submerged structure." Robert had known this swamp for 30 years. Fished here with his dad. With his grandfather. He said, "There's never been a pier out there. I know every inch of these waters." The man just stared at him. And said, "There's things in this swamp older than any pier's, son." Emma didn't talk about it for days. Robert tried to forget about it too. It was just a weird accident. Had to be. But a week before the wedding, Emma called her dad. She'd called everything off. The dress, the church, the honeymoon. Everything. Robert said, "Emma, what happened?" Long silence. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. Emma said, "Dad, I didn't tell you everything. When that thing pulled, I heard something. Under the water." Robert felt his blood turn to ice. He said, "What did you hear?" Emma said, "A voice. A woman's voice. She whispered my name. And said, I wasn't ready yet. That something was wrong." Robert tried to argue. Told her it was just stress, adrenaline, fear. But deep down he knew. Something beneath that mud had spoken to his daughter. And Emma had listened. If you're digging these stories, hit that like button and subscribe. Every week I've got more disturbing stories just like these. And now, the weirdest one yet. Because this time, the water doesn't just hide secrets. It shows what's about to happen. Story 3. Sarah, Ben, Marcus, and Lily worked at a startup that was draining their souls. So Marcus had an idea. Get away for a weekend. Completely off the grid. He knew the perfect spot. Porter's Reservoir. Been abandoned since the 80s, officially off limits, but there's a secret trail in. Sarah said, "Isn't that trespassing?" Marcus grinned. Marcus said, "Only if we get caught." They got there Saturday afternoon. The reservoir was perfect. Dark water, cracked concrete, dead quiet. But there was already a tent set up about 50 yards away. Campfire still warm. Nobody around. Marcus found a backpack inside. Wallet, driver's license. Marcus said, "James Kowalski, 34. Lily checked her phone. Lily said, "This guy, he was reported missing 2 days ago." While they're figuring out what to do, Ben looked out at the reservoir. The water was reflecting everything perfectly. Ben said, "There's someone standing behind us." Everyone spun around. Nobody there. They ran to the water's edge. Looked down at the surface. The reflection showed all 4 of them. But there was a 5th person. A dark figure standing behind Marcus. Marcus whipped around. Nothing. Ben stepped to the left. His reflection. Waited 3 seconds. Then moved. Ben said, "It's delayed. It's showing the past." And then they saw it. In the reflection, all of them were walking toward the water. Going in. One by one. Disappearing. But they weren't doing that. Not yet. Sarah said, "That's the future. We gotta get out. Now." Marcus was frozen, staring. Marcus said, "But if we saw it, can't we just avoid it?" Ben grabbed him. Ben said, "Then let's avoid it." They bolted. Left everything behind. Drove straight to the police station. The cop pulled out a map. The cop said, "James Kowalski camped in the exact same spot you were." Called his wife saying he saw something weird in the water. That was the last anyone heard from him. Sarah said, he saw his own future and couldn't stop it. 3 weeks later, Marcus couldn't let it go. What if they'd stayed just one more minute? Would the reflection have caught up to reality? He went back. By himself. Just to prove there was nothing special about it. Stood at the water's edge. Looked down. His reflection looked back. And then the reflection smiled. Marcus wasn't smiling. The reflection raised its hand. Wave started walking toward the shore. Marcus wasn't moving. They never found Marcus, just his car. And when the cops checked the shoreline, they found footprints. 2 sets. One going into the water, and another coming out. Porter's reservoir is still closed. But the locals know the truth. It's not the water that's dangerous. It's what it shows you. 3 stories, 3 bodies of water, 3 disturbing truths. Water doesn't forget. It holds what sank. It echoes what was lost. And sometimes, it shows what's coming next. If you hear a voice singing in the fog, don't go near it. If something tugs your fishing line, let it go. And if your reflection does something you're not doing, run. Thanks for watching. Drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Have you ever had something strange happen near water? See you next time, if the water lets you.